So I've owned this ute for about 9 years now, and it's always been a dream of mine to supercharge it. I've looked down the road of different options and different kits you can buy and all sorts of things, but you know, it's never been really the right time, and I really couldn't justify spending that much money on a worn out old Hilux. But anyway, the day's come, finally got around to it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a V6 4 litre Hilux motor, the 1GR-FE. From factory, they put out about 175 horsepower at the crank, allegedly. This kit that I've bolted on, it's an extra 130 horsepower, just simply bolt on. It's a job you can do on the weekend. It's all pretty straightforward. If you know what you're doing on the tools, I'm sure you can manage, and probably the easiest bolt-on power I've ever put on a motor, that's for sure. So first thing I had to do is replace the exhaust system. The old exhaust on it was quite tired, it was quite outdated, and it just wasn't going to flow freely enough to put a supercharged kit on this car. So I went to Beaudesert Exhaust, found a kit that they make, from basically headers all the way to the exhaust tip. Complete system, looks nice and neat, and yeah, it's got a nice little note to it. So now the fun part. Honestly, it's a job you can do on a weekend. It took me 3 weekends because I had a bit of stuff to do in between, and I'm quite time poor at the moment with work, doing big hours and whatnot, and I only really had time after work on a couple of days and a little bit on the weekend. So 3 weekends it took me to get this kit together and get it on the car. But I reckon you can knock it out in a weekend if you had half a clue and had a bit of time. It took me a lot longer than I wanted to, but I was doing a bit of 12-volt work here and there and sorting out some wiring, putting fuses where they should definitely have been in the first place. But so that's all sorted now, which is great. Then after that, I turned the key at the very end, started up straight away. It was beautiful. It idled, done all the right things. Obviously had a stock ECU, larger fuel pump and bigger injectors, so when it was under load, it obviously ran poorly, but it just managed to limp me from my house to the tuners, which was only about 4 k's away. And then yeah, done the dyno tune, literally drove it from the dyno tuners home, hooked the jet ski trailer on the back, filled it with camping gear, and done a 4-hour trip up north. The thing was absolutely faultless. The only thing that let me down was a clutch, but that was kind of my fault. It was on its way out to start with, and we were playing silly buggers in the sand dunes with 2-wheel drive, and one thing led to another, understandably. So then I had to go down the road of putting an aftermarket clutch in it. Went with an NPC clutch. Apparently it's out of a Ford Mustang, so it's got a billet one-piece flywheel now that NPC actually designed in-house. Then apparently they married it up to a Mustang clutch, which can handle a lot more ponies than this thing's got in it. So it should be sweet. As far as clutch pedal feel goes, it's great actually. It's nice and light, it's nice and bitey, does all the right things. I haven't put a huge amount of Ks on it yet, so I'm yet to sort of long-term test it, but at the moment it's holding up fine. Just quite an easy job, just dropped the box out, did that at home as well, got that all sorted, and another weekend of working on the ute, just what you want to do. Then was time to get a snorkel for it, so it had a plastic snorkel on there, a $75 eBay, just a cheapie, which actually lasted surprisingly well. I've had it probably 8 years now. It hasn't even faded, like super blown away with it. If you just need a cheap snorkel, just get an eBay one, they're great. And obviously that wasn't going to cut it now the engine's supercharged, so I put a larger snorkel on there, a stainless steel one. Went to a mate who actually owns a fabrication shop, Go Nutz Fabrication, absolute champion, done a cracker of a job on it. And yeah, now it's got a little bit more airflow so she can breathe, and I can still tackle creek crossings and wherever I need to do on our adventures and things. So yeah, super stoked with the way it turned out. Not really a stainless steel snorkel fan, but I reckon it really sets the car off. Alright, well that's enough dribble. Let's get stuck into it. Toodaloo. So power-wise, yeah, nothing phenomenal. What did I make? I wrote it down here somewhere. 198 kilowatts, or whatever that means. So 270 horsepower, and just shy of 400 Newton meters at the tyres. You know, that's 33-inch muddies. So I was happy with that. I'm not sure what they have from standard, but they got 175 at the crank when they're new, and this old horse has got 350,000 Ks on it. So God knows what it's got left in the tank now, but I'm sure a lot less than what it had when it came out of the dealership. So look, overall, would I do it again? Yeah, hell yeah, of course I would. It's just so much fun to drive now. Like, I don't daily this car. Luckily enough now I got a daily, so I don't have to worry about it. So it's only really just a weekend tourer and just do the occasional big trip every now and then. Fuel economy wise, I can't really comment on it because I haven't been able to have a chance to drive it economically yet. I think honestly, if you're a supercharged car and you drive it economically, at first there's something wrong with you. But yeah, realistically, it's a lot of fun. Like, I can hold torque-wise, I can hold 5th gear up hills now, when I knew before I had no chance I had to drop back to 4th, sometimes even 3rd. Not that I recommend that, because these gearboxes and these things are made of cheese. So obviously dropping it back a gears, keep it at a 5th when you can, is ideal. But yeah, it can hold 5th gear up hills now, which is quite new. Pricing wise, I won't get into detail too much there. It was a little bit more than what I thought it would be, obviously, because at the start I just sort of opted for the Supercharger kit. Then I didn't really take into account of tuning, Snorkel, I'd kill the clutch, and things add up. But anyway, and done a bit of 12 volt in there too while I was in there, so it definitely was dearer than what I thought. But honestly, when you put your foot down after driving that thing for 9 years and having that much change just after bolting some stuff onto it, it's incredible. I wouldn't change it. I'm going to keep it exactly the way it is. Maybe down the track I might actually put a smaller pulley on it, or talk to Tim from Raptor and get a little bit more out of it if I feel like it. But honestly, 270 horsepower out of that thing is more than enough for what I want to do. It's a lot of fun, and I know I'm going to enjoy it for a lot of years to come.